You made the plans 3 weeks ago. You were excited then. But now it's the day of, and the thought of going makes your skin crawl. So you cancel. And instead of guilt, you feel this wave of pure, undeniable relief. Picture this. Your phone lights up with a "see you tonight" text, and your stomach drops. Not because you don't like them, not because the plans are bad, but because somewhere between making them and now, the idea of leaving your house, of being perceived, of performing social coherence for hours, has become unbearable. So you craft the excuse, you're not feeling well. Something came up. You're so sorry. And the second you hit send, your body exhales. The dread evaporates. You're free. And underneath the mild shame is something stronger. Relief so visceral it feels like survival. Here's what's really happening. Canceling plans last minute isn't flakiness or disrespect. It's your nervous system reclaiming autonomy when future you made a commitment that present you can't honor. When you said yes weeks ago, you were operating in hypothetical mode, a version of yourself that felt capable, energized, socially resilient. But now, in the actual moment, you're running on a different operating system entirely. And the gap between who you thought you'd be and who you actually are feels impossible to bridge. Let me break down the 5 psychological mechanisms behind why canceling feels less like failure and more like self-preservation. Number 1. You don't commit to the plan, you commit to a fantasy version of yourself. When you say yes, you're imagining a future where you have energy, where social interaction feels manageable, where you're the version of yourself that can show up and be present. But that version is theoretical. And when the day arrives and you're exhausted, overstimulated, already tapped out from just existing, the person who made those plans feels like a stranger. You're not X, unreliable or dishonest. You're Y, someone whose capacity fluctuates wildly, and you've never learned to account for that when committing to future obligations. And here's where it gets complicated. Number 2. Canceling isn't avoiding them. It's avoiding the performance of being okay. It's not about the person or even the activity. It's about the energy required to show up as a coherent, engaged, socially acceptable human when you barely have enough energy to exist in your own space. Going out means putting on the mask, managing your face, tracking the conversation, laughing at the right moments. And right now, that feels as impossible as running a marathon in your current state. You're not X, antisocial or depressed. You're Y. Someone whose social functioning requires a baseline of internal resources you simply don't have in that moment, and forcing yourself to go would mean performing stability you don't feel. But it goes deeper. Number 3, your nervous system registers social plans as a future threat, and canceling deactivates that threat. From the moment you made the plan, there's been a low-level hum of anticipation dread in your system, a countdown, a awareness that you'll eventually have to be on, be seen, be evaluated. And that hum quietly drains you in the days leading up. When you cancel, the relief isn't just about avoiding the event. It's about shutting off the alarm that's been quietly ringing in your nervous system for weeks. You're not X, anxious or avoidant. You're Y, someone whose threat detection system treats social obligation as potential danger, and canceling is how you return your body to a state of safety. And that's not even the strangest part. Number 4. You're not canceling the plans, you're canceling the gap between expectation and capacity. When you made the commitment, you didn't account for the version of yourself who'd be depleted, overstimulated, emotionally raw, or just fundamentally unable to perform. You assumed you'd be fine, that you'd rally, that future, you would somehow have more resources than present you. But you don't. And the dissonance between what's expected of you and what you can actually deliver creates a cognitive strain so intense that canceling feels like the only way to resolve it. You're not X, a flake, or unreliable. You're Y, someone who consistently overestimates their capacity because society taught you that saying no up front is worse than disappointing people later. Which leads to the real issue. Number 5. The relief you feel is your body telling you the plan was never aligned with your actual needs. Most people feel guilt when they cancel. You feel relief. And that's not pathology. That's information. It means the plan was made from obligation, from people-pleasing, from a version of yourself trying to be normal rather than honest. The relief is your system saying, thank God we're not doing that thing we never actually wanted to do. You're not X, selfish or uncaring. You're Y, someone who hasn't learned to say no at the point of invitation, so your body forces the no at the point of execution. And here's the beautiful contradiction. You're the same person who will show up at 3 a.m. for someone in crisis, who keeps promises that actually matter, who's capable of deep, genuine connection when it's not forced or performed. But ask you to go to brunch on a random Sunday and you'll bail at the last second. You're not inconsistent. You're just someone whose yes means nothing unless your nervous system agrees, and you haven't learned to check with your body before your mouth makes commitments. Now, here's where this tips into something harder. If you're canceling every plan, if you never follow through, if people have stopped inviting you because they can't count on you, that's not boundaries. That's isolation disguised as self-care. The difference? Occasional canceling protects your energy. Chronic canceling protects you from connection. One is self-preservation, the other is self-sabotage. If you cancel sometimes and it's fine, you're just someone learning their limits. If you cancel always, you might be avoiding something deeper than social plans. You're allowed to cancel. You're allowed to feel relief. You're allowed to honor present you over the promises past you made. That's not flakiness. That's self-awareness. And the people who matter will understand that your capacity isn't constant and your presence is only meaningful when it's genuine. Team serial last-minute canceller or team never cancel no matter what. And if this resonated, the next video is about why some people feel loneliest after social events. Because if canceling brings relief, connection might cost more than you realize.